Okay, this is the factoring by grouping part of lesson 5.5, goal 1. Okay, so factoring by grouping. A lot of times you will have 4 terms when you're factoring by grouping. And to do factoring by grouping, it takes a trick. So make sure you practice this as well and understand how to use factoring by grouping, and I'll try to explain some of the details here as we go. When you are factoring by grouping, you want to look at the groups, look at the terms, and see which terms you should group together first and second. So a lot of times early on like this, they just have you group the first 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group the first 2 and group the second 2, but make sure that you put a plus sign in between and leave the negative inside the group, because you're actually adding those 2 groups together. Now, when you factor by grouping, after you group like this, the second thing you're going to do is take the greatest common factor out of each group. So I'm going to take x squared out of the first group. Leaves me with an x plus 5. I'm going to take a negative 2 out of the second group, and that leaves me with an x plus 5. Okay, so here's the tricky part to see. Once you see this, you get it. But right now we've got basically 2 groups. Each group has 2 factors, or 3 in this one, but 2 factors. X squared is a factor, and x plus 5 is a factor. This group has negative 2 as a factor, and x plus 5 is a factor. So what you should see here is the fact that they both have an x plus 5. That is its like factor. So you're actually taking the greatest common factor out of this group, these groups, and that would be your x plus 5. So I'm taking x plus 5 out, putting it out front, leaving me with x squared minus 2 left. Okay, so it's 2 different groups. X plus 5 is a common factor. I'm going to take that common factor out, leaving me with x squared minus 2 left. Okay, so that's how you do it. Let's go on to this one. Okay, so here I have a plus sign in the middle. So I can just go ahead and use that as my plus sign. First group I take out looks like an a. I'm left with an a plus 3y. Second group, I can take out a 2y squared. Leaves me with a plus 3y. You can only factor by grouping if these are the same, because now you take that out. A plus 3y, you put that out front, leaves you with a plus 2y squared left on the inside. That's your factored by grouping. Okay, so here's another one. We're going to go ahead and factor, group the first 2, the second 2. I'm going to take out a 2x squared, leaves me with x plus 3. This one I'm going to take out a plus 5, leaves me with 2x minus 3. You notice they're not the same, nor will they be the same. This is not factorable because the insides are not the same, nor will they be the same. Okay? So always keep that in mind. It might not be factorable. You hate to see that too often, but okay, so we're going to try these. Go ahead and try these problems. Stop the video and see if you can get these right. Okay, so stop it right here. I'll go over those in a minute. As soon as you're ready, you can start the video back up and I'll be going over those. Okay, welcome back. What you should have done on this one is you should have factored, or grouped, group the first two, group the second two, take out an a squared in the first group, leaves me with an a plus 4. Take out a plus 3 in the second group, leaves me with an a plus 4. I can take out an a plus 4 now out of the two groups, leaves me with a squared plus 3 left. That is your factored form. Okay, let's try the next one. This one we're going to factor or group those two plus these two. X squared out front, get an x minus 5. I'm going to take out a minus 4 here, and then that will leave me with an x minus 5. If I don't take out a negative, it doesn't work. This is x squared minus 4 and an x minus 5. Hopefully you got to this point. But then you should be able to see that this is a difference of two squares. So you actually could factor this further, which is x minus 2, x plus 2, and then an x minus 5 with it. So this is actually factored form. This is what you should have got by factoring by grouping, but then continued on by differences of two squares. Okay, so 2a and 2b, again, they give you these weird, awful factoring methods. These are the basics. This is what you need to know how to do for sure. I'm going to go over 2a and 2b with you just because they're in the book and I want you to see how they're done. All right, so just bear with me and I'll go through these pretty quickly. But you look at the first two and they have a 6x common, and actually this one does too. So I'm going to go ahead and factor all three of those. And these all have a y squared, so I'm going to factor all three of those. So I'm going to take out a 6x in the first group, leaves me with 5a minus 4b plus c. This one I'm going to take out a minus y squared, leaves me with 5a plus 4b plus c, minus 4b. Okay, now you notice that these are common, so I end up with 6x minus y and 5a minus 4b plus c left. That's my factored form. Okay. All right, what I'm looking at here, a couple things. These have an a and these have a b. Okay, so I'm going to try to get those together. So I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to rewrite this as 13ax minus or plus 9ay minus 14az. And then the next ones I'm going to write with b is plus or minus 32 bx minus 15by plus 18bz. Okay, so what I did was I put the a's all in the first three and the b's all in the last three. Okay, so I'm going to group this together and then plus and group this together. Now I don't know if this is going to work, but the only way for me to try it is to group them appropriately into having common factors. This one I think I can only take out an a, which is 13x plus 9y minus 14z. This one I can take out, I can't really take anything out. I could take out a negative, and negative b, maybe, gives me 32x plus 15y minus 18z. Okay, the only thing that I could do is go with that, and if you noticed, what's inside is not the same. And there's no way I can get them to be the same by taking something else out. So there, I believe we are done. This is not factorable. And that's it for factoring by grouping.